Hello and welcome to another episode of Simply Spooky. And tonight we are very excited to have those two Scouse lads, Haunted Scouse, in the room with us tonight. So we'll be having a lovely chat with them. As always, I've got my gorgeous, handsome, wonderful, beardy, glasses on his head, co-host Dan. And we are joined tonight by Jay, who is a big fan of Haunted Scouse. So it'd be really unfair if we did this and didn't have Jay on, because I know how much he loves them. So welcome to our Wednesday night, Jay. And welcome, Haunted Scouse. Dan, let's talk.
Good evening, everybody. I've just got a few people out there to say hello to. Claire, hello, Claire. Hello, Christine Marley. Hello, Sarah Louise Davis. Haunted Scouse, obviously. Hello, Haunted Scouse, but you're already here. And we've got good afternoon, good evening, Paul Mould, Amy, hello, William Southey, hello, and Annette Locke, hello. So I'm glad you could join us this evening. So it's going to be a good one this evening. Viv knows more about these guys than I do because I think she's worked with one of them, and in a previous incarnation, and happier days is what she tells me. And we're just going to get into it. So what we're going to do, we're going to ask the guys. Could you give us a little bit of an insight into who you are and what you do, please?
Go on, Jungen.
Go on, Chris, over to you.
Right, so, we are Haunted Scouse. We are primarily a YouTube channel. We're on Facebook as well. And, we've been going for about 2 years. And do we do anything else, Mr. Billing?
We've just started on events really as well, so it's more the places that we know are sort of active, and we sort of want to involve everybody else. So I can already see quite a few names in the chat that are usually on ours as well, and it's more just to try and give something back to them as well. And obviously the paranormal's for everyone, so we're trying to bring that out there to a wider audience and have people along with us as well. And at the end of the day, it's as it can be taken extremely seriously, but it is, for us, it's a hobby, and we love the history aspect of it as well. And you might need some subtitles as well. Just
you're okay.
Sorry.
I find it interesting that you guys mentioned the history of it, because obviously that's an aspect that I think, if you're involved in the paranormal, you're interested in the paranormal primarily, I think it's from a historical perspective. It's interesting that most people that come forward say they've got a real heavy interest in the history as well as the paranormal. It's all go hand in glove, as it were. So you guys, when you initially started, have you been in it very long now individually, or have you sort of recently last few years, or have you been in it since you were kids? And what got you interested?
So I'll read the comments, perving over your accent.
Is that clear, is it?
Clear, yeah.
But I suppose you go back to, I don't know, we say this all the time, but it's true. Like a lot of us, the initial interest is peaked with Most Haunted when that was a better show, should we say? So when there was nothing else out there, you see Most Haunted, and then for the likes of ourselves, and for Claire, will probably have liked the accent of the late great Derek Acora as well. So you kind of hear that accent, and you've got your interests in them. Who is this? Who's the person who sounds like us? And you haven't seen on something like that before. So that kind of interest, ironically, similar with Ghost Quest. Discovered Ghost Quest on YouTube, and there's a Scouse accent with Will. And you're thinking, right, okay, this is new. We'll give this a go. And that's so it was Most Haunted that got me into it. And
that's excellent. Have you had any experiences from when you were younger, though, Chris, that kind of pushed you forward, or is there any kind of experience that you've had that made you really seek it, or is it purely and simply the Most Haunted thing?
No, I mean, I had seen things when I was younger. I mean, one in particular, which is how I got onto the Ghost Quest channel, was my first ghost story. Ironically, how me and Adam met. Ben decided to go ahead with that kind of episode, an individual episode during COVID that we could do. And that was about where I had seen the ghost of a little girl when I was about 13 on an old railway in Liverpool called the Raleigh. So that became the first thing I was taking part in. And then it was meant to be Will who was filming with me that night doing the night vision part, and he couldn't make it. So that's where the first time me and Adam met was Adam pulling up outside the house in his car and just basically following protocols, didn't shake hands or anything. Nice to meet you, first time, right? Let me take you to some woods and we'll have a look around the car.
Bit dodgy.
What about you, Adam? What's your story, as it were, please?
I mean, pretty similar, to be fair. It's I mean, I've more of a healthy skeptic. I kind of dug myself as, and it's, you know, the what you see on telly sort of does kind of get you into it, but then you start asking questions like, is that real? You know, are we doing that? You know, is it all just camera tricks? Is it one of them? So I just started going to local events and things like that, sort of seeing it for myself. But then these events, you know, it's unfortunately some of them are kind of want to turn a bit of a profit, so they'll pack a small place out with 40-50 people, and you don't sort of get that true experience. So yeah, basically hence why I ended up with Ghost Quest and meeting Chris, and then evolving into Haunted Scouse, as it will. And you know, it's more just saying for me really, you know, is there something out there? Is there something more to it? And you know, try and approach it with a little bit more of a rational sort of, you know, scientific sort of explanation about it. But yeah, I mean, I know Chris has experienced a lot, and I think the more I'm doing this, the more I start to sort of, you know, it's harder to find answers to these questions, so to speak.
Very important question down there from Christine.
Yeah, Christine says, Chris, why are you so far away from the camera? Have you, like me, got a spot on your nose?
No. He's just ugly. That's why he's so far away.
Yeah, it's you know, it literally is. It's to make me look smaller. But no, it literally where I'm sat. I don't own a laptop, so I'm old school. Being as he said, the arse of the two of us. I've got a PC behind the telly, which I do all the editing on. So I'm actually sat in the man cave where the magic happens when I turn what us two get up to. It turns into an hour-long episode sat in this chair. So yeah. Plus, it's showing off the merch as well. That's the thing.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Every opportunity can be taken for that.
Bev, we can see your comments,
So
Bev.
you can see you, Bev.
We can see you.
There you go. So, Adam, you say that you're sort of skeptical. Have you changed your position since you've been out investigating? Or, I mean, obviously you're still skeptical. I think that's the best way for anybody to be. But has it kind of coloured your opinion at all?
I mean, from what we're sort of capturing, most definitely, yeah, because it's much harder to debunk, because, you know, I was there, so I know exactly when we've got, because of how we sort of film, we've got about 5-6 sort of cameras now, you know, so they're all locked off in different places. So, you know, for a fact, no one's been anywhere near them. And, you know, some of the stuff that Chris sends across, it's like, yeah, look at this, you know, we know exactly where we are. It's time stamped, we're in a different part. So it is much harder. But I think until, you know, you see that sort of chair floating up and flying across the room, I'm always going to be a bit, oh, I'm not too sure. But we've definitely caught some really, really decent stuff that is, you know, as I said, it's much harder to put your finger on what exactly it is.
Yeah, the chairs fly across the room in a different show. Yeah.
I was going to say, what's your most exciting piece of activity so far, do you think? What's the thing that you've seen that's really made you, whoa?
I'll let you answer that first, mate.
I mean, we were on Unexplained Caught on Camera, and we had two bits of evidence from that. And I think always would go back to Peter Cavanagh's pub, where we had an old music box, and it was locked off in one room, and we've caught it moving slightly and then moving again and rotating and moving as well. So that was really difficult to explain, and even Kieran O'Keefe, who was on the programs, you know, knows the pub intimately, and said there's no way, anyone could have got in that room or had it, and it moved away from the door instead of towards it. So you couldn't say it was pulling it. So that for us is probably always going to be, it was our first sort of massive piece of evidence that it was like, right, we just can't explain this. There's no reason for that to move. So on a cast iron table, solid surface, we've had it on graves in St. James's Cemetery on marble surfaces, and it hasn't moved. So it's, I think, always definitely that. And I think I've had at Antwerp Mansion as well. I've had scratches on me the next day, which were quite difficult to explain, and that's been the sort of first experience for me where I can't explain. I don't know whether to say being touched, for example, by something unknown, but waking up and seeing sort of about 6 or 7 marks on the base of my back. It was it was difficult, but probably those two I'd say definitely.
That's interesting. Sorry, Viv.
Amy says, and at Antwerp, the chair moving behind you, Adam.
I mean that one as well. Again, caught on a lock-off camera. This chair down in the cellars at Antwerp, it took about 6 or 7 men to lift it down there. It's a really massive, sort of like a throne. And I went to sit on it, and just as I moved my foot and then to turn my body to sit on it, you see the back of the chair sort of move. And honestly, that was another sort of, I had no idea what happened there, but you heard it, and then we obviously caught it as well on camera, just moving slightly at the back. But for a massive cast iron chair like that to move, it would have took some force. So
are these things that you've seen on review, or have you seen them actually happening in real time with the naked eye?
I mean, again, the music box was on review because it was caught on lock-off. The chair was, audibly I heard something because I went to sit on the chair. And Joe, when you sort of, when you sit on, I don't know, like a leather couch, and then you get off it and then you sort of hear it pop back up, that's what I heard. So I thought someone had sat on the chair, and obviously it wasn't until review we've caught it was actually the back of the chair being rocked or moved. So,
well, that's interesting. Yeah. That's very interesting. So Mark Chester here, he asks, hi you Mark, by the way, what's the best place you've investigated?
The best place that I enjoyed the most was probably Nugent Park. And because it's for us, ever since we started, the minute you've got the word Scouse in your paranormal team name, everybody is going to say, go to Nugent Park, go to Nugent Park. So you keep buying the lottery tickets in case you can win enough money to hire it for yourself. But in the meantime, we went along with the fantastic haunted happenings, and they allowed us to have free roam and basically create an episode for ourselves. That was fascinating because so many places had so many different types of activity. And unfortunately, the one area, they call it the cinema room, and we were in there, and just outside there's a corridor, and there was one of the old body trolleys. So when someone had sadly passed away, they had the trolleys, and it's like an aluminium lid comes over. I was out filming in the corridor because we were told we literally had 5 minutes and they were bringing a group down, but we had the nurses' quarters to go to next. But as I'm filming the trolley, you heard an audible tap on the aluminium trolley. So as I always do, I filmed around. There's no drips of water. It was dry. And then I went back in, and Adam's sitting on a chair. And then unfortunately, it's one of them things. I'm pointing the camera the other way, but you can clearly hear another chair move. And because I've kind of gone round from Adam, carried on in a full circle, you hear the chair have spun back round. And as we always say to people, they trust us. I mean, we've seen like Mark, who's asked the question there, and Amy, and I've seen a few of the other guys. They watch us because they trust us. There's no point faking anything. And that's why we use multiple cameras most of the time. So we can say, when someone says, was it that? You go, right, here's another camera angle. It wasn't that. And on this occasion, you can tell by Adam's face when I spin the camera around that something's moved next to him. And his reaction says it all. We've been going for long enough now to know that he's Mr. Cool, nothing phases him. I'm usually the one who reacts to stuff, but when something does happen, he has a certain face that he pulls when something really, the Antwerp chair was a similar one. It was like he stutters. It's kind of like what was that? And literally, it did sound like, and as Adam said, it was something here, but it was pitch black. And that's the other thing, as you guys will know, when you use night vision camera, if you're not looking through it, you can't see anything. And he's literally saying to me, "What's here? Is there another chair here?" And that's so. I think Newsham Park, we'd love to go back. Obviously, it's such a big location, but every area has a different type of activity. It was so interesting.
Yeah, we got some questions here. Now I know Adam's already answered a question. So Chris, have you ever been pushed or scratched?
Yeah, a couple of times, like gentle. I don't think I've ever been scratched, but I've been pushed, tapping on the top of Bidston Hill on the Wirral, calling out Richard Tilley, who was a Satanist and a murderer up there. As you that's the only time we've ever gone, come on then, because you've been a bully, so come on, there's too many here. And then you kind of get your zone back, because all of a sudden you've got a really sharp pain in your back. The Groves in the ballroom in Wallasey, I've been stood still and felt something push my arm, and I've just got my footing before I fell over. It's so yeah. I mean, I've had a few occasions where I've been pushed, and it doesn't make you feel scared. If anything's going to contact you in that way, Adam might differ with scratches on his back off his experience, but you kind of feel privileged. If something is going to touch you, Mill Street Barracks was another one. It felt like a child's hand just cupped the bottom of my knee, but it didn't feel. It just felt like, when your kids are little and you just want to, you're standing up, but they sit next to you and they just kind of. It's a safe way of doing it. That's what it felt like in Mill Street Barracks. And again, it was a privilege. It felt like you were trusted.
There's another question. Dan, you read it.
Oh, there's one from Eric. Hi, Eric. Do you think that whatever moves something heavy is inhuman or demonic?
I mean, I can't say yeah or no, but I suppose from my experience, the two things that sort of have moved, or chairs, it could just be, well, I've gone to sit on a chair and someone's gone, hang on a minute, that's where I sit, and maybe they've just sort of moved before, or just give it a bit of a nudge to show, hang on a minute, and so I mean, I wouldn't know. I couldn't tell if something was demonic or not. What makes something demonic? Is it a poltergeist moving something, or what? Everyone might usually say, "Oh, that building there, or there's a demonic entity, or there's a demon here," and they don't really show any sort of difference. I couldn't say that Chris and I have ever encountered anything demonic or anything like that. Maybe we have, and we just haven't seen it, but I've never felt like there's been some sort of demon where we've been.
Another question.
Oh, so William, hi, William. William says, I suppose the real question is, with respect, with all this alleged evidence that some groups have, what are you going? Where are you? What are you going with, or where are you going with it?
I mean, I'll just jump in on that. For us, I mean, what we get is, it's for you to decide. For me and Chris, or I mean, I'll speak for myself. I know Chris will say something on it, but this is a hobby, and we've got full-time jobs. I make my money elsewhere. This doesn't do sort of anything for us other than sort of follow a kind of hobby of mine, and it's a documented hobby. So we put it out there, and if no one watches it, no one watches it. But it's been great for us because we meet like-minded people like yourselves, and we can sort of have these conversations. And I don't think anyone's probably ever going to sort of get that holy grail of a full apparition or something there. But it's just, as I said, it's just good to sort of debate and throw out there and have these sort of sensible conversations about what could be, because whatever's out there, we're all going there one day. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. I think that it's any experience is personal, isn't it? Really, it's you can shift it around, try and chat to people, but it's up to them if they want to watch it or believe it. That's all you can do. That's the best you can do.
Yeah, well, to follow on from what Adam just said then as well. It's like to go back from what William said. Adam's spot on. We go out and we use as many cameras as we can. Like the Ancient Ram, for instance, our Halloween special. We genuinely do this because we love doing it, and we always say we make the episodes for the first 50 people that followed us, and everybody else afterwards was a bonus. But if you make it with the same passion you made things when it was 50 people, then the fact that we've got almost 2,100 subscribers now, we've grafted for that, and people obviously enjoy what we do, and we enjoy the premieres, and we think this was this. Somebody else might say it's something else. Brilliant. Let's discuss it. And literally, we're just putting it out there. I mean, there was, because as you know yourself, you get the Ancient Ram for 13 hours. We had 5 cameras running all night and created a 2.5-hour Halloween special. That took me 3 months to edit. And as Adam said, we work full time. We've got wives, we've got kids. So we do this for the love of it. And we are happy to discuss any scrap of evidence with anybody. And that's the thing with it. You don't put your evidence out there if you don't want somebody to have a different point of view on it. That's the way we look at it. Just have a sensible discussion. We've had it on YouTube. We've had the trolls, and you answer one account, and they've made another account. And it's easy to notice them because they've got one fella's got 3 accounts he created on February the 22nd this year. So he didn't even wait a day to create a new one. He created 3 at once. So he leaves negative comments, and it's great. He's banned now, never to be seen again, because he didn't want to discuss it. He just wanted to be nasty. And it's like we're saying, well, that's have an opinion, but don't be nasty. We're not nasty people. Yeah. So why do people think if you put yourself out there, they can be nasty to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I do.
So Bryce says, "Hi, Bryce. I think we will eventually end up with a Randall and Hopkirk, but the next step, who knows? Do you guys believe this will happen?"
Do you know who Randall and Hopkirk is?
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out how that would work with. I'm hoping he doesn't mean one of us is going to be.
I think that's probably where he's going.
Yeah. I'm not that old. But no, great show. Yeah, I'm not old enough to remember the original, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, Amy, isn't it? It's that people's integrity shows through.
Amy's one of the ones. I mean, she's been to every event that we've done, and she's a follower and one of our mods as well on the channel. And she has noticed probably as well. I mean, the last maybe 2 or 3 events, we couldn't really say bits have happened, but they have been much quieter, and that's sort of, it's just potluck, isn't it? And we could easily know the tools of the trade and make things happen. But
exactly.
What's the point? You just you're selling a lie, really, aren't you? So
yeah, you cheat yourself, don't you? Really.
Yeah.
I think as well. I don't know if you guys have had the same, but when Dan and I go out, just me and Dan, things happen. Not necessarily nice things, but things happen. But then when you add other people into the mix, and we're lucky when we've had Jay with us, things have still happened. But any more than that coming into the mix, and it seems to dull it down. And I don't know it's whether the energy that me and Dan give off to each other, or whether you two get the same, whether, when you've got your own energy that mix pretty well, that maybe the spirit likes, that will give you more than when you've got, a public event with you, with people with you. It tends to sort of dull it down a little bit. Do you think?
I mean, there'll be some energy going across to me mate Jay, who's just, if you put Jay's comments up there, I don't mind, by the way, because he sits opposite me in work. Yeah. I'll have 2 cups of tea tomorrow, young James. But no, I think we find with the events, it's interesting because we always say to everybody, we start off the first hour together, and we have like 20 people maximum at our events. And then we split off into 2 smaller groups. And then, so Adam takes one, I take the other, and then we'll stay with our groups, but we'll swap where we were. And then at the end of the night, we let everyone have free roam for an hour, and we just kind of follow them around. We go live on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. But we find that, and we always say this to people, the longer they're there, as long as we have a genuine conversation and we are polite and courteous and kind, we find that by the time you get to hour 3, you start to get a bit more activity because the spirits that are there trust you. Because at the end of the day, if we all believe the spirits are intelligent, if you walk in and go, right, what we're going to do now is you're going to start off straight off with the weed board. You're going to take the table. You're going to shout, come on then, if you're here, do something. But no, we gently coax our way through. We introduce everybody. And then literally, without fail, by the time you get to hour 3, people are having experiences. And then once you have free roam, it's great to see where people go off to and asking them, why did you go back there?
We try that, Viv, don't we? We go in, we tend not to ask cardboard questions, the sort of standard questions that people ask. And we try and talk to or converse with spirit as though we're speaking to somebody who's still very much living,
Yeah.
But I think they like it. They like it. I think they like it when I start swearing at Dan.
I think so.
If Dan tries to calm me down, and I'm not having it. No, they love it. The spirit.
But it's true, isn't it? I think it's like anything. If you go into a pub and you start shouting and screaming at somebody, you're going to get punched.
Yeah.
If you go and you talk to somebody in a decent manner, then they're going to reciprocate, All these cameras in the world, you still can't see things flying about the room. If you catch it on camera, people say it's fakes. Yeah.
It's just the nature of the paranormal, unfortunately.
It's it, isn't it, really?
Yeah, you capture anything and you use multiple cameras, then you've got to just pray that you've got another camera that shows the doors shut or something else. And it's like we had the door close over at Walton Hall, and Adam's standing next to the door. I'm filming Adam. I'm sat in a chair filming Adam. So the 2 cameras we had both captured. Adam's points off, but he spins round, and then the other one I captured Adam. But if I was pointing in a different direction and I spin round to the door shut and Adam's pointing somewhere else, the door shuts, they'll say Adam kicked the door with his foot.
Yeah.
So there are moments when you go, thankfully, I had Adam fully on camera to show he didn't touch the door. Adam was pointing elsewhere. And that's the thing, you can capture the best things ever and experience it, and you just got to pray when you look back, it's on there.
So Christine asks you, Chris, have you ever been that scared that you found it hard to carry out the rest of the night?
I wouldn't say that's if you don't count getting attacked by a big mastiff dog called Blue in Staunton Woods when we filmed there. That's ironically most people's favourite episode because I get attacked by a dog. Didn't bite me. I'll hasten to add, and I carried on like a trooper. But
that was funny, that one.
The ancient ram was a strange one because we both went in there with this big idea of splitting up, do a bit, split up, do an hour each, and we let the building get to us. And yourselves, it wasn't that the activity got to us. We let the building psychologically affect us. So when it came to the point of saying split up, we both looked at each other and said, I don't know about you, mate, but I feel a bit edgy. And then you kind of relieve them when Adam says back, yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same. That's why it's good to go back next year because we need to do that. One of us, now we know the layout, one of us sits in the kitchen having a burger and the other one can go off on their own and do their own thing. But we know the building now. We know we won't let it get to us. So it can sometimes be psychological where you are rather than what happens.
Yeah, definitely. So Annette asked, who knows, just like people, spirits might just not like some people in a group, so they don't bother giving anything, as in life, the same in death. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, we got a big one now.
Blimey, I'll let you read that, Viv.
Yeah.
Okay. Arthur C. Clarke was a real scientist and researched the paranormal for many years. He was a very open-minded individual and said science should also have an open mind. What most people don't understand is that the metaphysical in line with the occult is actually science. Energy is a vibration that exists in nature as well as any alchemist like myself can tell you. Alchemy, etc., teaches one a much deeper understanding of the human environment energy that exists in the universe. Just saying.
You took the words right out of my mouth, William. I was just about to say
just
that.
thinking that.
Well, I mean, very knowledgeable, and again, it's stuff like this that actually reading that, I think, oh, actually, that's interesting, and it's stuff that I don't think any paranormal investigator is ever an expert in their field. We learn like with everything, don't we? So again, it's why it's great doing these things to meet people like this and obviously hear their sort of opinions on it as well. And yeah, fantastic.
I think that's right. I think the best you can hope for really is supposition, isn't it? Guesswork, really.
Yeah.
The way we stand at the moment.
And taking on board what other people sort of give you, like William's just said about alchemy involving that. So
yeah.
So what's this? Oh, swearing at Dan.
Yeah, it is. You know that by now, Christine. It is.
A burger.
What is it?
A burger.
Mackie's like a burger.
Just laughing at your accent. So, in and around Liverpool, because you're haunted Scouse, I like the fact that you do some local bits to Liverpool, and you've done quite a bit actually, not just lovely haunted buildings, but you've actually gone and looked in woods and in reportedly haunted areas. I want to talk to you about haunted graveyards in Liverpool. Do you think that graveyards in Liverpool are actually haunted? Have you done many? Have you experienced anything? Because I've heard that there is a pyramid in one of these said graveyards that's supposed to be very haunted. Have you been there, and what happened?
That'll be the pyramid will be Mackenzie's too.
Yeah.
Where Mackenzie is, I don't know whether it's, I want to say William, but it might be John. But anyway, it's William or John. Maybe it's William John. Anyway, Mackenzie allegedly played cards with the devil, and in order to he basically ran out of money, and he bet his soul against the devil in a hand of cards, and he lost. So the devil said, okay, when you die, I am going to come and claim your soul, and I'm going to take you to hell. So what he did was, the legend is that within that tomb, he's buried, well, he's literally sat fully clothed at a table, and in his hand is an unbeatable poker hand. So when the devil came to claim him, the devil wouldn't be able to take him because the cards that he was holding were unbeatable. So therefore, the
royal
devil
flush. Yeah.
deceived.
So and then he's sat at the table, so his body isn't actually in the ground; it's above ground technically. Yeah. So again, it's sort of folklore, I think, but it's a really interesting story, and the pyramid is there. So
it's on a main road, unfortunately. So it's not like you can't actually. It's not worth investigating it because I think it's on Rodney Street, and it's one of the main thoroughfares of Liverpool city centre. So literally, you're 20 yards away from the main road with taxis going past and students and people coming out the pubs. Whereas you go the other end of the road, you get to St James's Cemetery, which is right by the Anglican Cathedral, and that's a different ball game altogether. And
it's interesting, though, isn't it?
It is very interesting.
I mean, just coming back to, I mean, the buildings that were talked about, they're all supposedly haunted and active and really well known. But how Chris and I started was just, 2 cameras and, right, Chris, give us 3 or 4 places in Liverpool, sort of where you were knocking about maybe as a kid, or maybe that might have that bit of creep factor about it. And then come over to the Wirral where I am, and I'll show you 4 or 5 places as well. And these are just places that you probably were knocking about as a kid, and enjoy, but take on a bit of a different sort of vibe. And have actually, when you dig about, I've got quite a long, rich history too. So that's sort of how we've started. And you don't need to sort of investigate the huge, big locations to get the activity. You can just go to somewhere local that has got that sort of history to it. And we, it sort of spawned from there, and it worked really well for us. So.
Adam, can you move your camera up so we can have a look at those shirts behind you? Because I know that that's not your washing.
There it is. You just
I
get.
thought you had
can't really
a
see
clothesline. You had.
It's a clothesline. So they're haunted Scouse apparel that people can purchase.
There you go.
Well, some of it they can. That's his back cave now. As he said, it's like Batman's back cave now with his different uniforms.
Where can they get those if they want one?
Those particular ones, they're the ones we've always worn. So I get them direct from a supplier because they're all embroidered.
Right.
But we do have an online spread shop now. Spread shit. Let me hang on.
Not spreadsheet.
I thought he was going to say something else.
Let's edit that. Yeah. Spread shop. Yeah.
But yeah, so we do have an online store now.
Where is it? I'm going to put it on the chat.
So I think I've just put it in there now.
Cool.
It's linked to the YouTube anyway. You'll see browse shop, and there's, there's a lot of different things that we've. I mean, again, it's something that we've always sort of toyed about with. But when we do the events, everyone sort of wants it. It's like, oh, can I have one of them? Can I have one of them? And you sort of feel like who'd want to buy this, and you don't want to feel like really big-headed that you've got your own merch shop, and the kids look at me like, all the YouTubers they follow, you're not as big as them, who do you think you are? So it's funny in a way, but I mean, we've just put stuff on there and people want it, just try to think of some funny sort of t-shirts and designs, but the embroidered hoodies that we've got seem to be quite popular, and they are quite comfy as well.
I'm rocking one here, which is the Dead Hand collection. But no, as Adam said, literally we've done a few with the Haunted Scouse wording on it. Just some of the H and the S Haunted Scouse. We've got the Christmas one, which we haven't actually released that one. We did that just for us for our last event as our Christmas jumpers. And then just some paranormal designs on there. And just thought, as Adam said, the guys that follow us know that every single penny we make, it goes straight back into hiring a location. Yeah. And we can go further afield because of the kind support from either channel members attending an event or purchasing something. So we're not here we don't need to make a living off it. So we've gone straight in. Like last Friday, we had 35% off the whole site for Black Friday. And as soon as we found out, we advertised it. So we've probably done ourselves out of more profit. But we literally said, no, don't put stuff in your basket or have a look. But Friday, the 25th of November, you can get 35% off. And a lot of people did. This week we were given the chance to give an offer of 15% and free postage. And again, obviously, there's a lot of people struggling at the moment. So we want to make sure that if you do want to support us, they get something for it. We always say to them, we'd rather they bought something from the merch page if they can afford to, and they've got something to wear, and they still give us a donation, and it's better for them. It's a bit more money, but they've got something for it. But the ones behind Adam, we keep that the light grey one behind Adam. We got that as our second one because everyone started buying the black and red. So we turn up to an event, and if anyone was new, they didn't know whether the likes of Amy or Mike or Kaz or Chrissy who wear all that were with us or just attending the event. So then we got the grey ones. Then everyone wanted the grey ones. So now we've got charcoal grey as well. So we've got a new one now, so people can buy the light grey. And then we've got a green one as well that we're kind of toying with the idea of. So yeah, it's kind of trying to, we want our uniform, but then everybody sees it and goes, I need, and you're like,
see, Amy wants it. Look, Amy wants the grey one now.
See, that's what I mean.
So going back to the graves, they've had names coming out on the Spirit Talker that match the gravestones. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that was over on my side, wasn't it? So we were in Wallasey Cemetery, and
sorry guys, be back in 1 sec.
He's got scared there as well, talking about it. But Yeah, we were in Wallasey Cemetery over my side, and again, sort of, we were only there about an hour, and the episode that's on the channel, it's sort of really quite unedited, to be honest, because we just walked down the path, but you know, the spirit talker on the spews out the names and got. I think I can't even remember some of the names now. It might have been like Mary, for example, and we looked over, and you know, we were stood right next to this gravestone and said Mary on. We thought, well, I mean, that's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? And you know, so started, you know, sort of talking to each other about it, and then I think we got William through. I think okay, and then we just scanned round. The one next to but one next to Mary had William on, and then after that, I think Charles came through, and that was over on the other side, just behind one as well. So where we were just randomly stood, within about 9 gravestones, 3 names on these gravestones came through. So it was just kind of like, wow, and they were just sort of one after the other as well. So it sort of does make you think that, you know, I know a lot of people will knock the apps and things like that, but we seem to have quite a relevant success to it, and how we operate with it. We sort of have, you know, 2 separate phones, one that I just keep off, and it's in my case, you know, and I don't turn it on until I get to the location. It's in flight mode, and I just put it on. So, so we've had some quite good success there. But yeah, I mean, graveyards, just because obviously that's where the dead sort of reside. You know, people sort of think, oh, they are really, really spooky, and in fairness, they are. And visually for us, they offer, you know, walking around the graveyard in the dead of night, it is, you know, really creepy, and it is sort of intense, because in the back of your mind you're thinking, oh my god, you know, there's so much going on here. But like I said, you can find that anywhere. You can go to your local park and walk through there, and especially where Chris lives as well. You know, it's just as bad.
I think the cat's interested in your grey hoodie, because when you mentioned grey hoodie, he was straight up here.
Straight in, was he? One one.
Yeah.
See, I will just point out to you, Viv, that there's my cat's down there being a bit better behaved than having a kip.
Yeah, John likes to come on air, live on air, but I think he could hear Adam's voice, and that was it, straight in there.
Yeah, so we've got any minute now. I'll probably get invaded. I've got a dog trying to get in there, and I've got a cat asleep there.
What's going on?
So Christine said there's a huge asylum. Oh, we've spoken about it, Christine.
Yeah, talk about Christine.
Watch it back. Terry says, until the dead can come and stand at the front of the class and teach us what happens over there and how to communicate between us, we're all still learning.
Yeah,
definitely.
And
I'm just laughing at my wife's comment there, Suzanne, that the green one makes us look like gardeners.
I was going to come to that. Yeah,
I know what she means, because there's a I don't know whether it's the kind of colour her brother Roy wears working for it. He does it. He's a gardener, but it's I know what she means.
Green hoodie and black wellies. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Hi, Suzanne. Hope you're all right, Suzanne. Bless her, and I hope your girl's okay as well. She's gorgeous, your daughter. But,
thank you. Yeah. Everyone wants the grey hoodie now. See what I mean?
So what's Bryce say? I don't. Oh, he's about cemeteries, graveyards, isn't it? I don't find speak of an atmosphere.
I mean, that's probably a better way of putting it, atmospheric. But yeah, it's I suppose it depends where you go. We've been to a few that are, you know, sort of quite quaint, and one in West Kirby by me is it was actually quite peaceful, and you know, it was quite they turned it into sort of a nature garden as well, and just all naturally everything was grown over, and you know, there was benches there, and you could sit there for hours and sort of watch the world go by. And yeah, but obviously then you've got some that are a little bit more, probably some of the older ones that do feel more atmospheric.
These apps are more like going into a fishing tackle shop. Everything that you see, you want, don't mean
you're going to catch a fish.
Yeah.
I completely agree. But I mean, I think, like I know Chris always says as well, that you go to some of these places and, you know, for some reason people think you're going to contact the white lady, the Victorian gentleman, You know, being around Liverpool, we might be speaking to a Scouser in the shell suit who, you know, passed over 2 weeks ago. So who knows what the technology is. So, you know, these spirits, you know, we don't know how it works, do we? So it doesn't have to be sort of the 1800s. It could be, you know, someone from the 2000s. So
you could have got somebody from Moss Side wanting to just come and beat you up and scratch your back, and you just got no.
Well, you know, we got contacted, and we've like, you know, we've been in Take a Break magazine, the Fate and Fortune one, a couple of times, and the second time they got back in touch with us, and the article actually went in a different direction because Julie wanted to do the article based on technology and why would spirits understand how to use modern technology. And as Adam's just said, I went straight in with the, well, you're assuming everyone's a white lady from 1800s or a top hat and tails gentleman. You're not thinking somebody's got jeans and a t-shirt on, a nice summer dress or something like that. And then you're discounting the idea that, yes, people will throw out there and say, the apps can't work, it's impossible. Well, why? So if you put a dictionary down on the table and the wind blows in and it lands on, you know, there's a word that's relevant on that page. Was it just because the wind blew and it was random on there, but you're talking about something, or could the spirit have done that? But the app, can the spirit develop the intelligence to go into there and say, that word's relevant?
Here's a question. Do you think the apps work like these mediums that cold read? Like a word that is thrown out, like I could give you a word, and you could relate to that straight away, and it could be totally random, but you're going to pick up on the word, go, yep, I understand what that means. You know, I can take that.
I know exactly what you're on about. Like, it'll throw out a name, and like I know, like whilst there was, and if the way Adam will have been telling you about the gravestones, that was highly relevant. That was bang, 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 one after the other, and actually the last one, more astounding than the others. The torch was actually pointing at the gravestone with the name Margaret for the last one. You know, so again, the dual cameras, you can see my torch pointing at that grave. So it's almost like they're saying, "Yeah, that's me." But you can go the other way, and some of them will say, "Yeah, everything's relevant." It's like it'll throw out, you know, like we were talking about fish and chips earlier on. It'll throw out, you know, fish, and you go, like last Friday I went to Chippy and I had fish and chips, and it's like, no, it's not. You know, what you're looking for is there a seafarer's grave next to it or something? Then that's irrelevant. But yeah, some just they grab at it and it must be relevant. It doesn't have to be. That's the nature of the apps. If you find relevance in a 15-minute section of using the app, and it makes up 5 minutes of an episode, or when we do the events, we'll use the app for 10, 15 minutes. You know, 50% will be relevant and very relevant. The other 50%, you know, it's irrelevant. So yeah, we do think some of the apps are designed to spit out words, but they're not spitting out the words as often as people say. It's almost like you know, you get a cat ball and people say, "Oh, it's designed to go off every 60 seconds." No, it's not. It hasn't got enough technology in it to go off every 60 seconds. You know,
I mean, don't get an app, but spend like $5,000 on an Oculus 3 or an Oculus One. Because, they're more important, and you know, it's unfortunately it's dream money. But you know, for the prices of them, do we not sort of do the same thing that an app does? You know, but on a similar sort of scale. So, but yeah, the Oculus is that kind of, you know, that world beater, and everyone's got one and everyone needs one, and that's the bit of relevance. So
I think it goes down to discernment as well, doesn't it? It's like I've noticed with equipment, whether it be an app or whether it be a piece of kit, it takes time to get used to it. So you'll find out what's relevant over a period of time. So if there's glitches, if there's any aspects of it that's negative, you'll find that out and you say, okay, I'm going to discount that because that obviously, you know, that comes up or what have you. So stuff that is relevant to you, you'll get in sync with, and then you'll find your way with that piece of kit. It's almost like you sort of alloy with it.
Is that
the previous life?
That's Adam and Chris and Dak. Dak, you got to say, good to see you.
But I mean, one of the apps that we use is one called Ghost Hunting Tools, and I know and we, you know, he does a lot for us, Steve at Piggy Pop, And I know Steve has said on that one, it's even the designer of the app has said it's not designed to be. It's not a part of it. It doesn't do what people think it does, but yet we've had results off it that we can't explain. So just because the developer says it actually doesn't do what a lot of people think it does, it doesn't mean that a spirit can't manipulate what's in there and go, it might not do that, mate, but I still want that word, and I'm going to show that word.
Yeah.
And if you buy the full version of that, you can add to the vocabulary. Again, doesn't mean you're cheating because you can't program it for that word to come out. But you can enhance it. I mean, if you buy the full version, it's like 10,000 words. It's a huge database, and then over time you can add to it. If you know every location you're going to next year, you could add in relevant words. Doesn't mean they're going to come out. But if you don't add to the vocabulary, how can the spirit go in and find that particular word?
Yeah, it's like with the Ovulus, you can break the banks, the word bank. Yeah, and I know at certain times the odd blue word comes out, let's say, and when you're filming for a company and doing stuff for them, and you've got the celebrity there with your Ovulus, and they're calling them profound words. You know, it can be quite embarrassing because they believe that it could be a spirit. I think it's just the Ovulus just doing whatever it does, you know. And
I had the thing with the Ovulus when it first came out. Actually, I think it was about the third one in actually, and people used to say to me, "Look, it's going to come out with words. They might be relevant, they might not." And I bought one, and it wasn't that much money at the time. It was about 150 quid or something like that. And I was using it. And I was thinking, "Oh, this is crap. This is just spitting out words that might mean something or might not." And then it was giving me. This is what blew me away. I was thinking questions, and it was giving me the answers to the questions before I said the question, which was really weird. And it was weird. And then it broke the bank, and it started. There weren't any updates. You had to update it yourself manually if you wanted to update a word bank on it. And I never did. And this thing started to create its own words. And then all of a sudden it started creating, it came in like sentences. Terry Davison will tell you that. He noticed it as well. And it blew us away. It was odd, really odd.
Well, it's funny.
Sounds like a new Terminator film or something, doesn't it?
There's been a few times where on our episodes, the app will say something, and either of us will say, "I was literally about to say."
Yeah.
It's like it's preempted, you're about to say, "Should we go into the next room?" And it'll say, "I'm in the next room." And you're like, "Wow, I was literally about to say, let's go in the next room." Yeah. And obviously, people have got to believe what you're saying, but it almost is like it's preempted. It's like one of the theories that goes to time slips, and that's what we're experiencing is a time slip. So it's not. It's two times coming together rather than two realms coming together.
Yeah.
Or time slips from 30 seconds ahead, rather than it doesn't have to be 200 years ago or 200 years in the future. Maybe it's just seconds.
Yeah.
Enough to manipulate that piece of equipment.
Yeah. Yeah. So Annette says people use Ouija boards to contact spirit, but some spirits from way back could not read or write. I think picture boards of some kind could be a good idea.
Picture boards.
Pictures will be interesting. Yeah. I mean, we don't use Ouija boards just for the fact that, I mean, I know Chris doesn't sort of approve of them or like them. I'm not too fussed, but I mean, you sort of hear the stories and people doing this, that, and the other, and it's just something that we just don't touch or don't go near. But I mean, maybe getting some pictures out, maybe putting a glass in the middle and saying, well, channel your energy through that and see, or maybe put cat balls on pictures and maybe light a cat ball on. So that could be something quite interesting. Maybe we might try that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You can draw your own picture, make it fit the location. Oh dear.
It's very much Skylab, Brian.
Yeah. It's been interesting. So Just quickly, what does the future hold for Haunted Scouse? What are you up to next that you can talk about and let everybody know? Is there anything that you can tell us that's
We're up
coming?
to something next, but we can't say what that is, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yes, it's something that's it should have happened already, but it's going to be quite big for us, hopefully, and sort of take us up to the next level. And then next year we've already planned at least 4 or 5 new locations that have been sort of on our list to tick off, as well as hopefully trying to revisit more. And obviously, Amy knows we always sprinkle something there, but unfortunately, we keep our cards quite close to our chest, and then we always, when we say this, it's worth the wait.
Yeah.
And locations that people can come out and investigate with you. Have you got more of those coming next year?
We've got 3 that we've announced for next year. 1 sold out. We're going back to Antwerp Mansion, which we have. I think we've got 2 tickets left for that in January. All the details are on our Facebook page. And then we're going back to Mill Street Barracks on the 8th of April, Saturday the 8th of April. I think we've still got about 10 tickets left for that. And you will get an Easter egg off us if you come to that one.
Oh, nice. Worth going.
Worth going, isn't it, for the chocolate?
Definitely.
Not that we're bribing people, but no, we're looking at different locations for later in the year, because what we try to do is, we try to book the events well in advance, and it gives people a chance to put the money away, basically. We have to put a deposit to secure the place. We never go above £40, and that's only if we're spending more for the location, we'll go up to £40 each. But again, our channel members get 10% off that. So even those that join our channel, our YouTube channel, if they come to all the events, they get more or less 4 or 5 months of their YouTube subscription back in discounts. So it's again, it's all about giving back. They support us, they help us. Hosting an event can be the way you get into a location. That's the other thing. It's these locations. Walton Hall in Warrington the other night on Friday cost us £500, but it's a big grand manor house. So inviting 20 people to join us, paid for it, gave us a meager profit, but it allowed people to walk around, and it was nice. Everyone said the same. Wow, look at the place. It's original features, and it was going to be Tommy Shelby's house in Peaky Blinders, but they chose Ardley Hall instead. So Walton Hall was nearly Tommy Shelby's house. So it's these locations open up to us, and it's brilliant.
Excellent.
Oh, I can't wait to see what you do next.
No, excellent.
We're going to have to get you back on. Will you come back on next year and talk about what you've been up to?
Anytime, and it's obviously we are, close followers of you guys, and we love what you guys are doing as well, and it's just great, as I said, talking to like-minded people and just having these conversations. We'll be happy to do it anytime, and hopefully we'll try. One thing I will say is 2023 for us, we need to try and get out with other teams, and I think we do want to do a lot more collabing with other teams. So hopefully we'll try and get you guys out. And we'll do something for each other, and
only if I can have a grey shirt.
So I'm for Dan if you want to come, Jay. I
want the Easter egg. Guys,
honestly, as Adam said, that's what we need to do now. It freshens it up, and we're getting offers of meeting up with people. And the more people you meet, it's just about sometimes we're that far away from each other. The timing's got to be right, as you guys know, when you're working full time as well. Your time off is precious, but we've got big plans, and Amy will be glad to know she's only got to wait until by the time she gets up on Wednesday next week, she'll know what we are going on about. That we're getting up to. That's potentially massive for us, huge.
There you go, Amy.
Morning when
there you go.
And we'll bring Jamie up to Liverpool to come and see you at some point, as long as he gets rid of that Liverpool football T-shirt.
No chance. It's not changing blue,
Adam,
so you can have a go at that.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been an absolute joy speaking to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for everything. And Viv?
Whatever you do, guys, have fun. Keep it going. will be watching, and we wish you all the luck in the world.
Definitely.
And
We
this
do,
big
yeah,
thing,
definitely.
we can't wait to see what it is and what you do, and we'll talk about it when we get you next on.
Good luck,
Thank
boys.
you.
guys.
Thank
Much
you so
Good luck,
much.
lads.
Cheers, everyone. Yeah.